Hello everyone, welcome to the Rubber Industry NewsHour, TechnoBiz initiative. Before I get into the detailed program, I think I would like to introduce about TechnoBiz, what kind of activities are there under TechnoBiz with reference to the rubber, latex and tire industry. Some of you may know it already, but for the people who are not familiar with what we are doing as a TechnoBiz, let me show you the video first. Okay, that's about the TechnoBiz. It gives you some idea about what we are doing as a TechnoBiz, what kind of services we have for the rubber and tire industries. So we are here for the news program. It's a weekly program, as you may know, every Monday, same time like today. Okay, so it's focusing on the trends in the rubber and tire industries. I'd like to thank our supporting media as a Rubber World. You can also subscribe this Rubber World magazine. This digital edition is free. You can go to the website rubberworld.com. Other publication of us, Rubber and Tire Digest, which is a joint publication of TechnoBiz and Rubber World. You can also subscribe it rubbertiredigest.com. So there's two publications are there supporting this event, and I encourage you, I suggest you to subscribe. Not only subscribe, read them and digest it. All the information, a lot of useful information in these publications. Okay, so we are here for the episode number 2. Today is 24th January, and we talk about various developments in the last week and other things happening in the rubber industry. Okay? The content of this program, you cover on the business trends, technology trends, research trends, and our market review. We also have tips and tricks that are useful tips for you to utilize in your processing, and also jobs information. And of course, we have some marketing and branding opportunities that given to these certain companies who supply chemicals, technology, machinery, and various. Okay, that's a briefly overview of the program. Part of this news hour, we have a guest speaker, Mr. Jom Jacob, with experience as a rubber industry analyst. He gives information on the natural rubber market review. Okay. Then we have Dr. Samar Bandyopadhyaya. Many of you know well experienced rubber technologies. Will be giving the tips and tricks. Okay, and so he will be addressing various useful tips in this session today. Okay. And we also have our researcher from IIT Kharagpur, Sritu. She will discuss her research work today. So this is the main content of the program with the various speakers today. Okay, let me get you the today's the business trends first. I'll addressing the various business trends, and well, maybe we'll break with the break sessions as well. Okay. The first thing news I'd like to introduce on Apollo Tires, and they're utilizing the green power for its Chennai facility. I think, as you know, the company has a 5-year vision. This is a leading tire maker. The Apollo Tires has ensured green power for its largest manufacturing facility in Chennai, in India. This will increase the share of renewable energy to more than 30% of the total for their manufacturing facility. Apollo Tire has invested in CSE Dakkan Solar. It's a subsidiary of the Cleantech Solar, to get a guaranteed supply of 40 million units of electricity per annum for its Chennai facility. Considering that the solar power gets produced only for a few hours every day, and there is no storage facility available, the company opted for an offtake of optimum quantity, which is about 20% of the total requirements in Chennai. That's the news about Chennai in Apollo Tires utilizing the solar energy for their electricity. I'd like to bring you about Swedish company. Again, it's a Yoloha. They have an eco-conscious design for the yoga mat by utilizing the Expol TPE bio-based materials. Yoloha is a company that sets out to make things better in their pursuit of quality yoga mats made from high level of renewable materials. They choose to work with Expol TPE. To support Yoloha's sustainability goals, Expol TPE developed a customized material from the Dryflex Green family of bio-based thermoplastic elastomers, the TPE. The TPE has 50% bio-based content. It has high melt strength and durability to easily produce foamed materials with a uniform foam structure. Foaming brings the lightweight advantages and cushioning in applications such as mats, protective clothing, and seating. Yoloha founder Chris Whaley, he commented, "I have worked with and tested with most foams on the market, from natural rubber, EVA, PU, etc. And I have found the TPE foam to be a perfect blend of support, durability, and weight. With that in mind, I discovered Hexpol TPE with their focus on sustainability. The dry flex green family of bio-based TPE contains raw materials from renewable sources, including byproducts from agriculture rich in carbohydrates, especially saccharides such as grain, sugar beet, or sugarcane. TPEs are available with amounts of bio-based content to over 90% with hardness from 15 shore A to 60 shore B. That's news about the TPE bio-based material, which is used in the yoga mats. That's great news. I'd like to introduce about the next news is on the Maxam tire. They actually opens the solid air plant in Vietnam. And they're using the proprietary liquid phase technology called Echo Point 3. Maxam tire has taken a big leap forward in advancing factory automation and compound development with the opening of their fully owned and operated solid tire plant in Vietnam. At full capacity, the factory will double maximum current production capacity with increased efficiency and consistency by using the newly developed proprietary liquid phase technology Echo Point 3 on existing and future solid tire products. After years of researching and developing high-performance rubber materials, Maxam debuts the innovative Echo Point 3 compound at the new solid tire factory, bringing their industrial and construction products to a new level of global competitiveness. Compared to carbon black compounds and conventional dry mixed compounds, Echo Point 3 provides superior distribution of ingredients. Echo Point 3 liquid phase technology not only improves a tire rolling resistance, but also enhances the skid and wear resistance, producing a stronger and safer and more energy efficient tire that delivers a comfortable ride. That's a news about the Maxam tire and the proprietary technology of Echo Point. This is news regarding the Contisil, Agro Contisil. They wins the Innovation Award. It's they prevent punctures in agriculture tires causing a downtime. The patented polymer that is applied to the inside of the tire immediately seals any puncture caused by foreign objects. The development has won prestigious Agri-Technica Innovation Award. The Benjamin Hubner, the product line manager of the agriculture tires for Continental, he says that a puncture can be very costly when it does occur. Agri Contisil enables the vehicle to continue working even after puncture from an object up to 12 mm in diameter. This will save those who choose Continental tires with Contisil time and money, whilst also offering peace of mind throughout the year. And that's the about Agro Contisil. It's a new polymer that seals punctures to allow the vehicles to continue operating. So that's briefly about the news on the Agro Contisil regarding the puncture sealing. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to inform you that I think many of you have been updated with our, about this program. So if you have not been a member of WhatsApp group of Rubber Network, I do request you to join this network so that you get update on the regular basis of the activities. And you can just scan this QR code, okay, and you can, I'll keep you updated on information about activities of the TechnoBiz and also relevant to you as well. Yeah, it's purely on the rubber. Yeah. I have a quick rubber industry marketing banning. We have a couple of companies supporting this program. So I will show you some videos and technologies on the, so let me show you this. The first is HF Tire Tech. They're supporting this event and show you their Cure Master for the TBR. Please stand by, let me open their video.
What does accuracy mean? A sense of perfection, low use of power, low and easy maintenance, a 67-inch machine that fits on a 62-inch base, fully automated mold height adjustment, constant low energy consumption, a reliable system, a modular design with light components and easy handling. Accuracy is the basis for precision, because precision is the ability to reproduce accuracy. The HF CureMaster, the definition of precision.
If you're interested in their technology, please reach out to HF Tire Tech. Okay, there is another company that I'd like to introduce to you here is the Maplan. Probably many of you know the Maplan is specialized in the rubber injection molding technology. They have this from machines from the injection of single rubber injection molding 360 degrees turn systems as well. Please check the information about the Maplan. There's more here. They're fast and flexible. Their machines are pretty much innovative injection molding machines. I'd like to introduce about another company, which is the transfer molding presses for rubber, silicone, plastics, and composites from the Wabash, based in USA. They offer the capacities from 30 to 350 tons. And I can see the details here. You always visit their website, wabashmpa.com. Okay, if you need any assistance from our side also, I'm happy to help you about this company. Okay, and useful for the silicone, plastics, and composites and rubber as well. I'll give you a quick intro to about our executive diploma program. I think many of you like to know about this information. We are offering a specialized diploma program on the rubber industry, technology, and management. This is a very unique program, and it is suitable for people who are in industry only. Okay, and if even you are working in the company now, you can still join this session, this diploma program. Let me show you the short video on this. And that's about the diploma program that we are offering starting this year. So if you're interested, you can also reach out to me. I'd like to introduce another company specialized in extrusion lines for the rubber and silicone, Rubicon, as one of the famous company. They have really good at the development, design, and manufacturing of the high quality extrusion equipment, particularly for the industrial and medical rubber and silicone products. You can always reach out to them at this website, rubicon-halle.de. Okay, as you see, they are specialized in the rubber and silicone extruder, extruder heads, continuous vulcanization lines, profile and hose manufacturing lines, silicone extrusion lines, downstream equipment, laboratory equipment, and mills. So they are one of the source of a technology supplier for you if you're interested in that. Other company I'd like to introduce to you is high print process oil. It's basically Ergon. Okay, they're rubber process oil. If you're interested in this process oil, you can reach out to them as well. Okay, that's briefly about all these suppliers and the technologies available. And now we're getting to a session called the Rubber Industry NR Market Review. And for this session, we have an expert, Mr. Jom Jacob. He is a rubber industry analyst with a huge experience, well known, internationally recognized, with a huge experience in the rubber industry markets. He will be discussing about NR market review. Mr. Jom, sir, please come forward.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Natural Rubber Market Review. So last week when we presented the outlook for the coming year, which is for the previous year, the week just finished, 2 points were highlighted in that. One point was that we are not expecting a major uptrend or a major downtrend. This was one observation. In fact, what was our observation was that investors in futures will be indecisive. So market may move either erratically or it will be sideways movement. Sideways movement means no major uptrend or major downtrend. Another observation was that latex price will perform relatively better compared to capillum. These were the two observations. So we have expected latex price relatively better because during the wintering season, means a season of low supply, the latex processing factories will be offering a premium price for the fresh latex. This is to ensure that during the off season they have to ensure, that means they have to get the raw material, fresh latex. So they every year, this is a practice being followed by the latex processing factories every year. During the lean season, they offer a premium price. So premium price means farmers will be prompted to, maybe they'll be encouraged to sell the produce in the form of latex rather than converting it into capillum. So this is one of the two. So what in that context, what was the performance of the market? How did market perform during previous week? As we expected, prices, especially in the DSR sector, means technically specified rubber. Technically specified rubber means around 70% of the global trade in rubber is in the form of TSR. So around 70% of the global production of natural rubber is processed in the form of TSR, and which is the most popular and the most prominent grade. TSR prices, we have two important markets for that. One is STR20 Bangkok, which increased 1.3% last year compared to the average 1.3% last year compared to the average a week before. In the case of SMR20 Kuala Lumpur, which is another important market, the price during last week averaged 0.3% higher compared to a week before. Then latex, we had a specific observation on latex price. Latex constitute around 12% of the global trade in rubber, or of the total production of total supply of natural rubber. Around 12% is processed into latex, centrifugal latex. So latex prices, we have two important markets. One is Bangkok market, another is Kuala Lumpur market. Latex prices in Bangkok averaged 2.4% higher during the last week compared to a week before. 2.4% means considerably higher than the price of STR20, increase the price of STR20 in the Bangkok. If you come into the case of Kuala Lumpur market, latex averaged 3.0% higher compared to the 1 week before. So in the Kuala Lumpur market, SMR20, the increase was only 0.3%, but latex price was 3.0%. So it means the market performed exactly in the way we predicted last week. Now, coming to the latex RSS market, we have two important markets. One is RSS3 market in Bangkok. It's averaged 1.5% higher during the last week compared to a week before, and RSS4 in Kottayam, India, average only 0.1%, only marginal increase higher during last week compared to a week before. Now coming to the futures market were actually the sentiments were kept down due to various factors. We will discuss that. Shanghai Futures Exchange fell 0.7% last week compared to a week before. 7.7, I mean, average during last week was 0.7% lower compared to the average a week before. In the case of Psycho, the increase was only 0.03%, almost 0%. Means that there is no increase at all, almost. But in the case of Osaka Exchange, RSS3 Osaka, the increase was 1.0%. So when we compare physical market and futures market, we can observe that the price increase was more in the physical market than in the futures market. So why futures market prices were not performing well compared to the performance of the physical market? We have a number of reasons. In fact, sentiments were kept down due to various factors. One important factor was that a reintroduction of control measures, COVID control measures in China, in various provinces in China. So China is following a different strategy to counter the COVID spread. China is, while other countries are actually allowing people to move and they have chosen to live along with the COVID, China is following a different strategy, means a close down. Exactly the previous way, what they have done in the first outbreak. So this is so that means China is very important for rubber, because as I mentioned last week, around 43% of the world demand for natural rubber is coming from China. So China's close down is crucial for natural rubber demand, and that was reflected in the Shanghai market. So one important reason was. Then fear of aggressive tightening by the US Federal Reserve. Aggressive tightening means Federal Reserve is going to tighten the policies, means there will be higher interest rates. Higher interest rate means borrowing costs will be higher and dollar may be strong. And also at the same time, we have seen the 10-year treasury yield spiking. So that means that when the treasury yield is spiking, from investors from various other portfolios like equities, commodities, they will leave those sectors and go to the treasury yield, because they always have a tendency to go in sectors having higher growth potential. So this was another important abnormal growth in the yield rate of US treasury yield attracted investors to that particular area. That was another important thing. Then we have also seen geopolitics coming into the States in the form of, because Russia is likely to, there's a possible attack of Russia on Ukraine, And US and allied and also Europe, Western countries may be intervening in the maybe also joining, maybe they'll be joining the issue. That means there is some kind of a geopolitics. So that also, when geopolitical tensions prevail, normally investors will keep away from risky investment. So that also impacted on the rubber futures and equity market. Then another important factor, World Bank, as mentioned earlier, World Bank trimmed the 2022 World Economic Outlook, and at the same time, day after tomorrow, IMF is going to release January 25. IMF is going to tomorrow, not day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, IMF is going to release the revised global economic outlook by incorporating the impact of the Omicron spread. So it means the market is expecting a downward revision by the IMF. So that also makes it, even though revision has not come out, it is widely expected that IMF is going to trim the global economic outlook for 2022. So these factors actually impacted investor sentiments, and because of that, people in the speculative market kept away, largely kept away from the markets. Then, what lies ahead? What can be expected in the short term? Most important thing, when we look in the short term, most important thing, China is going for the long lunar Chinese New Year holiday from 31st of January to 6th of February. So that means Chinese manufacturing factory plants and all business activity will be closed down, and the Shanghai market also will be closed down. So it means China's absence will be having a major impact on the market. China's absence, total absence of China, that will be there. So even though it is coming on end of January, so maybe this week itself, China the buyers in China may be less active because they are preparing for going for the long holiday. So normally companies will be buying less because of the 1 week holiday. China's factories will be buying less natural rubber. Physical market also, we are expecting lower demand from China until the holiday is over by the 7th of February. Then another thing, fear of Federal Reserve's aggressive tightening policy. Tightening policy, another word used is hawkish policy. That means hawkish policy means interest rate is going to be higher. So anytime Federal Reserve will be announcing winding up of its asset purchasing program, that means and also at the same time it will announce the schedule of interest rate hike. So that means the borrowing cost is going to be higher, dollar is going to be stronger. So this is a negative factor. This is something which is putting pressure on investors to keep away from the market. Then, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow IMF World Economic Outlook is going to be released. When that is coming out, sometimes the downward revision may be higher than what the market is expecting. Sometimes the downward revision may be lower than the market is expecting. So depending on how IMF, so what is the extent of revision, what is the extent of downward revision is very important. So that's another important factor. Then and a geopolitical tension centered on Ukraine is another very important issue. So whenever geopolitical tensions are prevailing, speculative investors will be less active in not only equities and also commodity market futures also. Then another, but at the same time, we have a positive factor. Supply is going in. Now the world supply of natural rubber is entering into a season of low supply, coinciding with the wintering of rubber tree. So after the leaf falling season, the trees will refoliate, means young leaves will be coming. So when the young leaves start coming, farmers largely give a tapping rest, maybe 1 or 2 months tapping rest. So this may not be all farmers may not be doing, and also the wintering season vary from country to country. Within the same country, it varies from region to country, region to region, and within the same region, the wintering season slightly vary according to the clones and soil conditions. There are some, but anyway, we are expecting a off season of supply. So that will be the only plus factor we are having. So putting together, we have a number of factors putting downward pressure, means weighing down the prices in the short term. And but at the same time, we are not expecting prices to fall abnormally because of the support from the low supply. So low supply will continue supporting the price. Maybe I would like to say that low supply will be cushioning the markets from falling a lot. So anyway, we are expecting either a sideways movement in price, means a marginal down, or maybe marginal up. We are not expecting a major fall in prices, or major increase in prices in the short term. So this is what is expected. Coming to the latex market, we can expect latex price gaining more, because latex gaining more in the sense that latex price will increase, or the increase in price of latex price will be relatively higher compared to the price of RSS or TSR. So this is because of the reason I mentioned earlier. So these are indications of the prices. That's all for this week's NR market review. We will see again. We will review what happened next week. We'll see it again next week. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's about the natural rubber industry market review, okay, by Mr. John Jacob. I'll show you the another marketing technology focusing on the lev gum rubber recycling technology. It's a video. Let me screen the video for you. Okay, that's about the the lev gum rubber recycling technology. If you're interested, you can also reach to me about this lev gum rubber recycling technology. So now, as a part of this rubber industry news hour, as you know, this is a weekly program. We have a research session also, rubber industry research. Today, we have a researcher from IIT Kharagpur, Ms. Sritu. She's a research scholar at the Rubber Technology Center at the IIT Kharagpur, India. She is going to present and share the information of research work on the role of zinc oxide with various morphologies and surface characteristics in elastomeric composites. May I invite Ms. Sritu to come forward and introduce about your research work.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Sridhu TK, and I'm currently working as a research scholar at IIT Kharagpur. Yeah, 1 minute. So today I will be going to discuss on the role of zinc oxide with various morphologies and surface characteristics in elastomer composites. So we know that rubber has played a vital role in the part of civilization, and the vulcanization is a process of transforming a plastic rubbery products into the highly elastic products by forming a three-dimensional network structure. And this process actually uses a bunch of chemicals such as sulfur, accelerator, activators like zinc oxide. So like we know that like the 50% of the global consumption of the zinc oxide is going to onto the rubber industries alone. And the recent study conducted by the Swedish and Britain shows that like about 150 tons of zinc is leaching out from the titrate every year. So high release of the zinc into the environment, like it is toxic to the aquatic species, microcontaminants, and algae. So owing to these ecological concerns, the minimization of zinc oxide amount in the rubber compound is a necessity. So from our side, we have explored and tried to replace the conventional zinc oxide with the various zinc oxide structure like active zinc oxide and nano zinc oxide. So in that we have basically we structural characterization have performed that are like XRD spectrum, FTIR, and the TG analysis. So from the XRD, we can see that the 2 theta values were corresponding to the typical Miller indices value that confirms the structure of the zinc oxide were hexagonal versite structure. And in the FTIR spectrum, we can see that there is a prominent peak of the zinc oxide and OH were observed at the 800 and the 3600 in the nano zinc oxide. And when we look into the thermogrammetric analysis, that is the degradation profile of the various zinc oxide, we can see that it is prominent 2 degradation profiles were observed for the nano zinc oxide. That is a weight loss at 139 could be due to the any volatile materials or any water absorbed on the surface. And there is another degradation profile that is around like 392 degrees Celsius. That could be due to any loss of the organic materials that are present during the synthesis process of the nano zinc oxide. So when we coming into the morphology of the zinc oxide, we studied that are like conventional zinc oxide were possessing a cuboid structure with a 300 to 600 nanometer size, and an active zinc oxide having a nodal and porous structure with the particle size of 100 to 500 nanometer. And finally, the nano zinc oxide were having a spherical and platelet structure of 30 to 50 nanometer particle size and aggregate size of 500 to 600 nanometer. So coming into the preparation of the natural rubber carbon black zinc oxide composites, like we mainly obtain like the nano zinc oxide from 0.5 to 2 pH, like 0.5, 1.5, 2 pH, and the active zinc oxide from 1 to 5 pH. And the conventional zinc oxide we took at the reference sample with 5 pH, that is C5NR. And with the natural nano zinc oxide, we are terming as the N.5 and N1.5. And with the active compounds, we will named as A1NR and A3NR. Okay. So the master batch preparation were done in the Brabander Riaucourt, and after that the final batch prepared in the 2-roll mill. So you know that the cure characteristics that is actually giving the processing properties of the compound is giving the torque values like MH value and MH minus ML delta torque values, actually giving the polymer filler interaction also. So here we can see that the MH value were of the active and nano zinc oxide lot composite were increases with the increase of zinc oxide content. And the from the MH value, that is MH minus ML value, that is we call delta torque. We can see that higher the delta torque, the higher will be the cross-link density. So when we comparing the elastic modulus with time curve and the cross-link density of the compound, the trend was formatting, like the whichever compound is having the highest delta torque, it's showing the highest cross-link density. And the compounds were with the optimum cure time, that is TC90, and the processing safety, that is scorch time TS2, were giving the N1.5 NR and the A3 NR batches. That is the compound with 1.5 pHr of nano zinc oxide and 3 pHr of active zinc oxide were giving optimized properties among all the batches. And so this could be due to the lower particle size and high surface area of the nano zinc oxide that was able to give a similar amount of cross-link density when compared to the 5 pHr of conventional zinc oxide loaded compounds. And A3NR shows the highest cross-link density than the all other batches. This could be due to the higher surface area and the high reactive sites in the A3NR, along with the extra sulfur content present in the active zinc oxide, making this is possible. And when we analyze the physical properties of the natural rubber composites loaded with the zinc oxide, such as like tensile strength, elongation modulus, shear strength, and the hardness, we can see that the A2NR shows a 14% increase in the tensile strength, where A3NR and A4NR exhibits comparable properties with the C5NR, while N1.5 and N2NR demonstrate a higher tensile strength and elongation at break than the C5NR. So A3NR and A4NR, A5NR actually increased about 9, 24, and 35% of modulus. So in a nutshell, we can say that the modulus and the tensile strength and elongation were better in all these active zinc oxide loaded and the nano zinc oxide loaded compounds. So when we are looking at the other physical properties such as shear strength and hardness, we can see that the N2NR shows a 27% of improvement in the shear strength over the C5NR. Similarly, the A3NR will also be A2NR showing the increase of 26% over C5NR. So we coming to the dynamic mechanical analysis of the natural rubber carbon composite loaded with various zinc oxide. We know that the DMA analysis is actually giving the idea about the rolling resistance and traction of the compounds. Like the rolling resistance, the tan delta value we obtained at the 60 degrees, giving the rolling distance of the compound. So from this, the results were really amazing that the rolling distance was reduced by 31 and 14% for N1.5 NR compound and A3NR compound when compared to C5NR, and the traction were tremendously improved by 81 and 75% for N1.5 NR and A3NR when compared to the C5NR compounds. So the influence of these properties we are trying to interpret with the polymer filler interaction by using the morphological analysis such as SEM and AFM. So from the SEM analysis, we can see that the compound with the conventional zinc oxide, that is having the micro zinc oxide particles, are less prone to the agglomeration, and the nano zinc oxide were having the high reactivity and the like higher surface area is showing having the agglomeration at the higher loading. But even though we added at a 1.5 pHr, that the lower loading, the agglomeration tendency was very low. So then when we look into the active zinc oxide at the 3 pHr, due to the high surface area and the active high reactive sites of the active zinc oxide were prone to the agglomeration or aggregate formation. So this where the polymer filler interaction were obtained from the study of this like for the nano zinc oxide, for the active zinc oxide, for the conventional zinc oxide. So similar morphology were obtained for the atomic force microscopy also. Like for the case of active zinc oxide, there was an aggregate formation that is actually leads to the higher modulus of the A3NR compound that we already discussed in the physical property of the composites. So in conclusion, we can say that the nano zinc oxide and active zinc oxide having the high active center are actually giving a replacement or to the conventional zinc oxide. That is, in a nutshell, we can say about like 1.5 pHr of nano zinc oxide and 3 pHr of active zinc oxide are equivalent to the conventional zinc oxide in metrics in terms of like cure characteristics, mechanical properties, DMA, and that leads to a reduction of zinc oxide amount in the rubber compounding by 70 and 40% respectively. So when we look into the mechanical property like tensile strength, or the elongation and all, we can see the tensile strength has increased in 14% and 3.8% for the A2NR and in 1.5 NR when compared to C5 NR. And then it was gradually decreases at a higher loading that we explained with the morphologic analysis, that like at a higher loading, the agglomeration is happening. So for the TS strength, it has increased by 27 and 26% for the N2NR and A3NR. So in the conclusion, we say that the addition of active zinc oxide and nano zinc oxide, the modulus and the cross-linked density of the compound were increases. And we already explained that the rolling resistance has decreased by 31 and 14%, that actually giving a better fuel economy, and the traction had improved by 81 and 75% for the batches of N1.5 and A3NR compounds. So this work has been published in Journal of Polymer Research, and if you have any further queries related to this work, you can have to we will be happy to help you out. You can come to me and my guide. So yeah, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Sritu. Now we get into the business trends of the rubber industry. A few more updates for you. One is on the Arkema, and they actually increased their global capacity of the PBAX elastomers by 25%. This new capacity will produce a wide variety of the high specialized grades to meet growing demand in numerous demanding applications, particularly due to the lightweight, flexibility, and excellent energy return of these materials. These properties are particularly appreciated in sports equipment such as the soles for running shoes, sky boots, or technical textiles, in consumer goods such as the smartphones and also the flexible screens, as well as the other markets such as medical equipment. That's about the Arkema. As you know, many of you know the Sumitomo Rubber Group. They were working towards the carbon-free society. They're moving two of their factories in China are 100% using 100% renewable energy. That's a great news, and they're using the solar energy. They will further plans to install more solar power generators from the second half of the year. These two factories are now set to reduce their total annual carbon dioxide emissions from tire manufacturing process by 70% compared to their 2021 levels. That's great news about the Sumitomo Rubber Group. There is some new development about the new two rubber chemicals are added into the SVHC list. I think many of you know what is SVHC. It is a substance of very high concern. These are the two rubber chemicals being added. European Chemical Agency added these two rubber chemicals into the substance of the very high concern. Okay, now that's for you the information. Okay. Let me show you one quick intro about the company, and it's called the Holdwell Components. They provide one-stop solution for all elastomeric needs. It's an advertorial. Let me show you a quick video on this. Okay, that's about the whole well components. Now we are getting to the another highlight of this rubber industry news hour. We call the rubber industry tips and tricks. This is basically a, useful tips who are related to the rubber processing. Today we have an expert, Dr. Samar Bandyopadhyay. As many of you know, he's a specialist in the rubber compound in the processing. He's going to give a few tips on the rubber industry storage room, materials and compounds handling. Dr. Samar.
Good afternoon to all of you, and also very much thankful for TechnoBiz to give me this opportunity to speak in the tips and tricks in this news hour. So we'll be telling something related to the raw material storage, compound storage, and the use of all those materials by 3 or 5 tricks. First tip I am giving to give you that in the rubber industry, as you know, that we are using insoluble sulfur, and this insoluble sulfur we use for a specific purpose for retaining the tack, because normal sulfur they can bloom and they can form a surface which the tack retention will be a problem. But insoluble sulfur, they do not bloom. They remain inside the rubber compound because of their polymeric in nature. Their molecular weight is quite high, and that's why they don't bloom. So now the first tip is you should not keep insoluble sulfur in contact with different basic materials like amine. Any amine type of material you should not keep beside the insoluble sulfur. Then if you are keeping this amine type of material beside insoluble sulfur, the insoluble sulfur degradation may take place and it can be converted into soluble sulfur. So you should not keep insoluble sulfur and sulfonamide accelerators together. So because sulfonamide accelerator may also form the MBT or the amines. So insoluble sulfur must not be kept beside the basic materials, which are like sulfonamide or the MBT accelerators. This is the first tips I'm giving. Second one, I want to say you in the rubber industry, you must not keep the acidic material and basic material side by side, because acid and base, they can have interaction. So what are the acidic material we are using in the rubber industry, like the stearic acid, oleic acid, benzoic acid, phthalic anhydride? These are the acidic material. You must not keep this acidic material beside the your base material. Basic materials are like zinc oxide, your magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, magnesium carbonate, calcium carbonate. All these material, they should not be kept beside this acid material. Third tip is that in the raw material storage area, you must keep the heavy materials like the rubbers in vertical way, so that you can keep them in vertical manner and you can have more available space. And also the other materials like your chemicals, rubber chemicals, and all those material you must try to keep in a vertical manner, and give the proper marking, like the your use before tag. And this use before tag must be given with a very prominent marking ink, and that ink must not get erased. Use before is basically the concept of using the material before the material can get its shelf life is over. So this is called maintenance of the FIFO, first in, first out. If you are using the material, whichever material has reached in your factory for at the beginning, you must use them at the earliest, and then the later material should be used. So this is called first in, first out concept. People they do not follow sometimes. They follow the last in, first out, the LIFO. Last in, first out must not be used in the rubber industry. The LIFO concept must not be used. Only the FIFO concept should be used. Another tip is the GIGO. garbage in and garbage out. If you are producing any garbage material, those garbage material must be taken out as early as possible. So we are giving you 3 tips like FIFO, first in, first out, LIFO, last in, first out, and GIGO, garbage in and garbage out. So these are the different things today we wanted to say in the storage of the materials. And also I want to tell you that the rubber materials are lively materials. Whatever rubber materials we are using, natural rubber, synthetic rubbers, these materials are live material. So you must not keep them in the open environment, in sunlight, because they may react with the ozone or oxygen, and they may get degraded. So they should be kept inside the shade, and they should not be kept in the open area. And the last tip is a hygroscopic material. Any hygroscopic material, that hygroscopic means water attracting. Those material which can attract water, they must not be kept in the moist area. So they should be kept in the dry area. Any hygroscopic material must not be kept in the moist area. They should be stored in the dry area. So this is all about the tips and tricks that we are wanted to give today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Summer. Okay, I'd like to add some jobs information. What are currently some of the jobs I received information about it, and I'm going to show to you. If anybody interested, you can reach out to these companies. This is a job opportunity in Indonesia for the QA and engineering manager at the Margo Rubber, Indonesia. You can see the details. Okay, if you're interested, you can go to this link and to apply for it. Other one is the Rubber King tires. They are looking for the various positions in mechanical engineering. So please reach out to them. Rubber King tires have been announcing a lot of jobs. So you can always check their, their website or the company for more information on their available jobs. Okay. That's about the jobs. Okay, I'll let you introduce to you about the various upcoming events this week or next week. We're having the NR dialogue. If you're interested in the natural rubber, you must join this one. Mr. Jom Jacob is hosting Dr. Yusen, is a Chief Executive Officer of the Dawei Golden Land. There is a natural rubber manufacturing exporter. He's going to discuss about the Myanmar rubber industry. This is on the Thursday at 6:30 Singapore time. And we have a rubber industry leadership program with a dialogue with the Ramaswamy Sundar. He's the managing director of this one, Elastomer. It's a custom rubber mixing company. We're going to discuss with him how is the business, how is he leading his company. So feel free to join. This is free to join. We'd like to introduce about our weekend educational programs. Then on Saturday, we have fillers for rubber reinforcement by Dr. Summer. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning, Indian time. And next one is a rubber to metal bonding, case studies and troubleshooting by Mr. Pranav Bhattacharya. Is another rubber technologist with extensive experience. He will be discussing this subject on 30th on Sunday. So if you're interested, you can get a registration from me. I'm happy to send you the information on this, how to register on this. Okay. I encourage you to watch the TechnoBiz channel YouTube. There are a lot of information I post in there, and like today's NewsHour is also available in this YouTube channel. If you're missing, you'd like to make a notes of reports or tips by Dr. Summer or Mr. Jom Jacob, you can review back, this in the YouTube channel of the TechnoBiz. Okay? For any other information, if you always know how to reach me, okay, I'm happy to assist you. I'm available on email or WhatsApp, whichever the way is convenient for you. Okay, I'm hoping to see you next week. That's all for today. Thank you all. Bye-bye for now.